And then when we flip over to the East side, you got obviously the Heat have probably the best matchup they wanted with the Bucks for the first round now.
Oh,
and then they probably the next best thing they would want to see were two of their biggest foes going up against each other, and they got the Knicks and the Celtics. And I think both of those teams give the Heat a little bit of problems,
Yeah, and that'll be a brawl, dude.
They got those two teams going up in the first round against each other, so one of them are going to be gone.
Yeah, that'll be old school. That'll be old school NBA East basketball. That's going to be people are going to get knocked down in that series.
Absolutely, it's going to get nasty. It's going to be a very physical series, and then they just ended up beating one of their biggest nemesis this year, and that was Chicago. They just couldn't seem like they could get over that hump against the Bulls, and they just went and just blew them out.
Before we get too much into this playoff picture, and look, this is a subject you and I have kind of stayed away from. We haven't said a whole lot about it. We kind of sat back and waited, and I'd say both of us, or the sports world, is a little bit jaded by Adrian Peterson. What is your opinion or take on the Derrick Rose situation?
I'm just like, man, you're in practice, you're jumping and stuff like that. I mean, when I look at Ron Artest, just had his meniscus. Obviously, I know the difference, everybody, so stop squawking about the difference between an ACL and a meniscus or surgery. I mean, believe me, George and I are surgery experts because we both had a million of them. But let me tell you something. Ron Artest had his meniscus repaired, and that motherfucker was back like 12 days later. Playing. He's starting now in the lineup. Now, get out there and play. What are you worried about? You don't have to do everything, Derrick Rose, but you become a distraction. You know what I'm saying? You're out there, you're doing something. Come off the bench. I know if it was me, and I like Derrick Rose because he's a stand-up guy. He's a classy athlete. He doesn't get into trouble or anything like this. But there comes a time where you're like, man, you're out for the whole fucking season. At least get in there and start getting some minutes, get your confidence back up. It's almost like he's scared. And you know what? It's not even almost. He is scared. You know what I mean? But he's got to get past that shit.
Now, if you're the Chicago Bulls, would you want to continue to roll with the squad you have, or even bring back a Derrick Rose who's 80% healthy?
I would want to have the squad that I'm having currently right now starting, but I would want to say, Derrick, come in and start giving me 3-4 minutes off the bench. Just get in there. When the team gets tired, let's see what happens. Let's see what's happening. Let's see how much of a distraction you are. Let's see what you can do, how many assists you can do. How can you become a role player? You know what I'm saying? Because then all of a sudden, if he gets his confidence up and he can do more and more, nobody has prepared for him. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I say get your ass back in the lineup.
I agree. I mean, I don't. The last quote I heard was only God knows. I'm sorry, but that's weak, dude. That is a fucking weak excuse. It's your knee. You're practicing. You're dunking. You're running. You're cutting. Call God up and tell him to put you in the game then. I don't know what else to tell you, but that is one of the biggest bullshit things I've ever heard in my life. And it's truly disappointing. It's disappointing to watch a man with that much talent come up with that excuse. Why not go, you know what, I'm not there mentally yet. I'm still working on, or even I'm still working on some things, or there's some things I just can't quite do yet.
It's cowboy the fuck up, man. In a day where the surgeons are so fucking good, you look at what Purple Jesus did, okay? You look at RG3, I mean, he's way ahead of time. You look at what, Ron Artest did. I'm sure we're going to see what happens with Kobe with Achilles, which is just worse than any of that shit. You know what I mean?
Achilles.
And it's like, these guys are like, they're hungry. They're coming back. It's your rehab. It's getting out there, doing what you have to do because this is what you're paid to do. And eventually, if you sit on your ass, Father Time will catch up with you. You won't even need a surgery to take you out of the game.
Where did Derrick Rose go to college and play ball?
He went to Memphis.
Did he?
Yeah. He went to Memphis, son. Yep. He went to Memphis when they were good for about 1.5 years.
Yeah, that was when Kyle Perry was there.
You nailed it. And as soon as he left, everything was like up in flames. Anyway, guys, let us know your thought about the whole Kobe ordeal, about what's going on with this final playoff push for everybody and all the teams included in it. Who's coming out of the West? Who's coming out of the East? And any surprises that you might see coming in this upcoming NBA playoff season. We're out. Comical, brash, and yeah, sometimes politically incorrect, the Uncut Sports Show. Non-traditional sports coverage delivered the way you like it by your uncensored co-hosts, Kevin White and George Bedford.